Indestructible is one of the biggest words you can put on a knife. But when a blade leaves the showroom and enters the real world, marketing doesn't cut anything. Steel and design do. So this time, we're leaving the usual suspects behind and putting 10 completely different fixed blades under serious pressure. We're judging them on edge stability, toughness, grip, control, cutting performance, field maintenance, and how well each knife handles demanding outdoor work. Some are built for bushcraft, some for hunting, and some simply look like they could survive anything. But looking tough isn't enough. By the end, only 3 will earn the title of true survivors. Let's start at number 10. Number 10, Condor Terasaur, the simple bushcraft performer. The Condor Terasaur enters at number 10, and this is one of those knives that immediately reminds you that complicated doesn't always mean better. The design is straightforward: a compact fixed blade, a practical handle, and a working edge intended for real outdoor use rather than showroom decoration. Its approximately 4.3-inch blade gives it a useful amount of cutting surface without making the knife cumbersome. The Scandi style grind is particularly interesting because it gives the Terrasaur a natural advantage when working with wood. Feather sticks, notches, carving, and other controlled bushcraft tasks are exactly where this knife feels at home. The 1095 carbon steel blade also brings the kind of toughness outdoor users expect from a traditional hard-use steel. But there's a catch, and it's an important one. Carbon steel rewards users who take care of their equipment. Leave it wet, ignore the edge, and treat maintenance like an optional chore, and the knife will eventually remind you that physics doesn't care about marketing. During demanding use, the Terrasaur handles controlled cutting impressively, and the handle provides enough grip to maintain confidence through repetitive work. But once the test becomes more aggressive, the limitations of compact bushcraft design start becoming noticeable. This isn't a giant survival chopper, and it shouldn't be treated like one. The relatively modest blade size is an advantage for precision, but also means there are better choices when the job involves larger material or heavier processing. Another reason it falls to number 10 is that several knives higher on this list offer a stronger combination of toughness and versatility without sacrificing too much portability. The Terrasaur isn't a failure. Far from it. It is actually a very sensible knife for someone who understands what a bushcraft blade is supposed to do. The problem is that this test isn't about sensible, everyday performance alone. We're asking which knives continue to inspire confidence when the workload becomes increasingly demanding. The Terrasaur performs well when the task matches its design, but it doesn't have quite enough structural margin or versatility to survive the competition. At number 10, it proves that a knife can be simple, useful, and affordable without necessarily being the ultimate hard-use survivor. Number 9, Cold Steel Master Hunter, the hunting blade that surprised us. At number 9, we have the Cold Steel Master Hunter, and this knife takes a completely different approach from the Terrasaur. Instead of emphasizing bushcraft carving, the Master Hunter is much more focused on controlled cutting and hunting applications. Its blade shape gives it a generous belly, which makes it particularly useful for slicing and field dressing. That sounds like a limitation in a survival test, but there's a reason this knife made the lineup. Durability isn't only about surviving punishment. A knife that keeps a useful edge and remains controllable during demanding cutting can be more valuable than a giant blade that simply looks stronger. The Master Hunter's handle also deserves attention. Its secure grip provides confidence when your hands are wet or conditions aren't ideal, and that matters when you're performing repetitive cutting. The blade steel varies by generation, but the overall design has consistently focused on providing a robust hunting tool rather than a fragile slicer. During testing, its greatest strength becomes obvious when the task requires control. It feels purposeful rather than oversized. The blade isn't fighting you, and the weight doesn't become distracting after extended use. But that same specialization hurts it when we move into tougher survival work. A hunting knife optimized for slicing isn't automatically the best choice for aggressive wood processing, shelter construction, or other tasks that place greater stress on the blade. That's where the Master Hunter begins to fall behind. Its geometry is designed to cut efficiently, not to become a substitute for an axe or pry tool. And that's a distinction worth making because the word indestructible can create unrealistic expectations. A properly designed knife should be used within its intended role. Push it beyond that role, and you're not testing quality anymore. You're testing how much abuse a tool can tolerate before something eventually gives. The Master Hunter performs extremely well when precision cutting is the priority, but this competition rewards versatility under pressure. It finishes at number 9 because it lacks the broad workload capability of the knives coming next. Still, it earns respect for one important reason. It doesn't need excessive size to perform serious cutting work. The Master Hunter is a reminder that blade efficiency can matter just as much as blade thickness, especially when a job requires control rather than brute force. Number 8. SOG Seal Strike, the tactical wild card. Number 8 belongs to the SOG Seal Strike, a knife with a much more tactical personality than several of the blades we've already covered. At first glance, it looks ready for almost anything. The fixed blade construction, aggressive styling, and practical blade length give it the appearance of a serious, all-purpose field tool. But appearance is exactly what we're trying to separate from performance in this test. The Seal Strike is interesting because it sits between tactical and outdoor use. It has enough blade to handle common camp tasks, while the overall profile remains manageable for everyday carry. Its stainless steel construction also gives it an advantage in environments where moisture is a concern. That can be important for users who spend extended periods outdoors and don't want to constantly worry about corrosion. The handle provides a solid grip, and the knife feels comfortable enough during general cutting. Where it performs best is versatility. It can handle cordage, food preparation, light woodwork, and various camp chores without feeling completely out of place. But when the pressure increases, the difference between a capable tactical knife and a dedicated hard-use outdoor knife becomes more obvious. The Seal Strike isn't designed around the same kind of heavy-duty simplicity found in some traditional survival blades. Certain features that make a tactical knife interesting don't necessarily make it better at sustained wilderness work. A knife can have an impressive appearance, multiple design elements, and plenty of tactical styling, while still losing to a simpler blade when the job is cutting wood for an hour. That's why it lands at number 8. It isn't weak, and it isn't poorly designed. It's simply trying to cover a broader range of roles, and that creates compromises. The higher-ranked knives on this list are more focused on the physical realities of hard outdoor work. They have fewer distractions and more emphasis on blade geometry, structural strength, control, and field maintenance. The Seal Strike remains a useful option for someone who wants a versatile fixed blade with a tactical edge, but it doesn't quite deliver the same confidence when a workload becomes extreme. At number 8, it survives the early stages of the test, but the real pressure hasn't even started yet. Number 7, Topps BOB Fieldcraft, the bushcraft specialist. At number 7 is the Topps BOB Fieldcraft, and this is where the ranking starts becoming genuinely competitive. The BOB was designed with serious outdoor work in mind, and its approximately 4.5-inch blade gives it a very practical balance between control and capability. One of the first things that stands out is how purposeful the knife feels. It doesn't try to be a massive survival sword. Instead, it focuses on the jobs you're actually likely to encounter around camp. Wood carving, feather sticks, notching, food preparation, cordage, and shelter work all fall naturally within its range. The 1095 carbon steel blade gives it the toughness expected from a hard-use fixed blade, while the full 10 construction provides confidence when applying controlled force. The handle is another major strength. It offers enough room for different grips without making the knife feel excessively bulky. That's important during longer sessions because comfort affects control and control affects performance. A knife can have excellent steel and still be unpleasant to use if the handle constantly creates hot spots. The BOB avoids that problem reasonably well, but the knife isn't perfect. Its size and weight make it more of a dedicated outdoor tool than a lightweight, everyday carry blade. And because it uses carbon steel, wet weather maintenance remains part of the ownership equation. That's not a deal breaker, but it does mean you need to respect the material. during hard use. The BOB feels substantially more confident than the knives below it. It doesn't immediately complain when the workload increases, and its geometry remains useful instead of becoming awkward. So why doesn't it reach the top 3? Because the remaining knives bring even stronger combinations of edge performance, portability, corrosion resistance, and structural confidence. The BOB is excellent when the task is bushcraft-oriented, but a true survival all-rounder has to perform across a wider range of conditions. This knife is at its best when you know you'll be spending time around wood and camp construction. It has the character of a tool designed by people who understand that wilderness work is repetitive and physical. Number 7 is a strong result, and the BOB has already demonstrated something important. A knife doesn't need to be enormous to handle serious outdoor work. But the knives ahead are about to make the competition much harder. Number 6, Turava Jakarapukco 110, the minimalist powerhouse. Number 6 goes to the Turava Jakarapukco 110, a knife that takes a brutally practical approach to the fixed blade concept. There's no unnecessary drama here. The design is compact, functional, and built around the idea that a working knife should spend more time cutting than showing off. The approximately 110mm blade sits in a very useful range for outdoor tasks, giving you enough length for serious cutting while remaining easy to control. Its carbon steel construction is particularly suited to users who value toughness and straightforward field maintenance. If you damage the edge, restoring it isn't some complicated workshop project. That's a major advantage in the wilderness. The blade geometry is also one of the reasons this knife performs so well. It is designed to cut efficiently rather than simply carry a huge amount of steel. That makes it particularly effective for woodwork, carving, food preparation, and general camp tasks. The handle is simple but functional, allowing different grips without creating unnecessary bulk. This is a knife that feels like it was designed around the user's hand rather than around marketing photography. Its biggest limitation is also part of its identity. Carbon steel requires care. If you're careless with moisture, you'll have to deal with corrosion. But for an experienced outdoor user, that is an acceptable trade-off for a tough, easy-to-maintain working blade. The Jakarapukco also doesn't pretend to replace larger tools. It isn't designed to process massive logs, and that's actually a good thing. A knife becomes more useful when you understand its boundaries. The reason it reaches number 6 is that it delivers an unusually strong combination of cutting efficiency, compactness, toughness, and simplicity. It isn't quite as universally adaptable as the knives in the top 5, but when you put it in the hands of someone who knows how to use a bushcraft knife, it becomes an extremely capable tool. There's a certain confidence that comes from a blade without unnecessary complications. You know what it's for, and it gets on with the job. At number 6, the Jakarapukco doesn't survive because it is flashy. It survives because its design makes practical sense. Number 5, Lion Steel M4, the premium compact fighter. At number 5, the Lion Steel M4 brings something different to the competition. Premium construction combined with a surprisingly compact package. This isn't the biggest blade here, and it isn't trying to win through brute force. Instead, it focuses on precision, ergonomics, materials, and overall refinement. Its blade is around 3.8 inches, making it particularly easy to control during detailed outdoor work. The steel used on the M4 gives it strong edge performance and corrosion resistance, depending on the specific version, while the full tang design provides the structural confidence you'd expect from a serious fixed blade. The first thing you notice during use is how refined the knife feels. The balance is excellent, and the handle gives you a secure, comfortable platform for repetitive cutting. That's important because hard use doesn't always mean hitting something with maximum force. Sometimes hard use means spending hours performing hundreds of controlled cuts. A knife that remains comfortable and predictable during that process can be more valuable than one that simply survives a few dramatic impacts. The M4 also has a very useful size for hunters and hikers who don't want a large survival blade hanging from their belt. It's easy to maneuver and doesn't feel like excess equipment. The downside is obvious. This isn't the knife you choose when you want maximum blade mass. Its shorter blade and compact construction make it less suitable for heavy wood processing. And although its materials are premium, that doesn't make it immune to misuse. No amount of expensive steel can turn a cutting tool into an indestructible pry bar. What makes the M4 impressive is how much capability it packs into a relatively small footprint. It handles the jobs that matter while remaining comfortable to carry. That puts it above the more specialized knives we've already seen. But the top four are going to be judged even more harshly because they combine this kind of refinement with greater hard-use confidence. The M4 reaches number 5 because it is a beautifully balanced outdoor knife with serious practical value. It doesn't win by being the toughest-looking blade on the table. It wins by demonstrating that intelligent design can make a smaller knife feel remarkably capable. Number 4. White River Firecraft 4. The Precision Survival Blade. Number 4 is the White River Firecraft 4, and this knife represents the precision side of survival gear. With a blade around 4 inches, the Firecraft 4 is compact enough for detailed work while still offering enough cutting surface for serious outdoor use. What immediately separates it from many heavy-duty survival knives is its emphasis on edge performance and control. The blade geometry is designed to slice efficiently, and that becomes obvious when working with wood, food, cordage, and other materials where clean cutting matters. The handle is another major strength. Its shape provides a comfortable platform for different grips, allowing you to move between delicate work and stronger cuts without constantly repositioning your hand. This matters because a survival knife rarely performs only one task. 1 minute you're preparing a meal, the next you're cutting branches or modifying a shelter. The best knives are able to transition between these jobs without feeling like a completely different tool. The Firecraft 4 does that extremely well. Its materials also give it a premium feel without making the knife excessively large. But the knife has one important limitation in a test like this. It is designed more around precision and general outdoor performance than extreme abuse. You wouldn't choose it specifically because you plan to punish the blade unnecessarily. Its strength is intelligent functionality. That's why it reaches number 4 rather than the top 3. The knives still ahead combine comparable cutting ability with an even greater sense of hard-use confidence. The Firecraft 4 is also the kind of knife where maintenance and technique matter. A good edge can make a tremendous difference, and a skilled user will get far more from this knife than someone who simply treats every fixed blade as a hammer. That distinction is important because the strongest survival gear isn't always the gear that survives the most abuse. Sometimes it's the gear that lets you avoid unnecessary abuse in the first place. At number 4, the Firecraft 4 proves that a compact knife can feel premium, controlled, and highly capable without becoming oversized. It doesn't need to pretend to be indestructible. Its real strength is that it performs so efficiently within its intended role. Number 3, Benchmade Anonymous, the modern survival specialist. Now we reach the top 3, and the Benchmade Anonymous earns number 3 by taking a modern approach to the survival knife. This knife is designed around lightweight carry, corrosion resistance, and practical field performance, making it especially attractive to people who spend long days outdoors. Its approximately 4.25-inch blade is large enough for serious work, but compact enough to maintain control. One of its biggest advantages is its steel. The CPM Crewwear version offers a compelling combination of toughness, edge performance, and corrosion resistance, giving it a very different personality from traditional carbon steel knives. That combination matters because survival gear often has to operate in environments where maintenance opportunities are limited. Rain, humidity, sweat, and wet vegetation can all become problems. A knife that resists corrosion gives you one less thing to worry about. The Anonymous also has an ergonomic handle designed for secure control, and the overall weight remains manageable for extended carry. This is where the knife really shines. It doesn't feel like you're carrying a piece of industrial equipment. It feels like you're carrying a precision tool that happens to be extremely capable. During demanding cutting, the blade remains predictable, and the edge geometry allows efficient slicing without requiring excessive force. But there are trade-offs. The price is considerably higher than many traditional hard-use knives, and that changes the value equation. If you're someone who routinely loses or abuses gear, spending more may not make sense. There's also no magic involved. Even premium steel has limits. A knife designed for cutting still shouldn't be treated like a pry bar. What earns the Anonymous number 3 is its ability to combine modern materials with practical outdoor design. It offers a level of corrosion resistance and lightweight performance that some traditional survival knives simply can't match. The top two, however, bring their own advantages, particularly when raw toughness and long-term field confidence become the deciding factors. The Anonymous is one of the three that genuinely earns the word survivor in this ranking. It doesn't need excessive thickness or aggressive styling. Its strength comes from materials and design working together. For hunters, hikers, and backcountry users who want a modern fixed blade without unnecessary bulk, this is one of the most compelling options in the lineup. Number 2, Bark River Bravo 1, the field-tested classic. And number 2 is the Bark River Bravo 1. And this knife takes the idea of a premium outdoor blade in a very different direction. The Bravo 1 is compact, but it has the feel of a serious working knife. Its approximately 4.25-inch blade gives you enough length for practical field work while remaining highly controllable. One of the most important features is the convex edge geometry, which allows the blade to transition smoothly from the cutting edge into the body of the blade. In practical terms, that can produce an extremely efficient cutter while maintaining a strong edge profile. The Bravo 1 is also known for its comfortable handle and excellent balance. Those characteristics become increasingly important during prolonged use. A knife can survive a hard cut, but if it leaves your hand tired after an hour, it isn't necessarily a great field tool. The Bravo 1 feels designed for people who actually spend time using their knives rather than simply collecting them. Depending on the version, the steel can vary, but the overall design philosophy remains focused on durability, cutting performance, and practical outdoor use. One of the most impressive things about the Bravo 1 is how it combines refinement with toughness. It doesn't have the intimidating bulk of a giant survival blade, yet feels capable enough to handle serious work. Wood processing, food preparation, carving, camp chores, and general wilderness tasks all fall comfortably within its range. The downside is price. This is a premium knife, and that means you're paying for materials, construction, finishing, and overall design rather than simply buying the cheapest tool that can cut something. For some users, that premium won't be justified. But for someone who values a refined, fixed blade that can stay in their gear for years, the equation becomes more attractive. It reaches number 2 because it offers an unusually strong combination of toughness, edge performance, comfort, and control. The reason it doesn't take number 1 is extremely narrow. One knife in this test manages to offer even more confidence when a workload becomes seriously demanding while maintaining enough versatility for everyday outdoor use. The Bravo 1 absolutely survives the test, though. In fact, it demonstrates that durability doesn't have to come at the expense of cutting performance. That's a difficult balance to achieve, and Bark River gets remarkably close. Number 1. Top Steel Eagle 107C, the final survivor. Taking number 1 is the Top Steel Eagle 107C, and this is where the Indestructible claim finally meets a knife that looks and feels built for punishment. The Steel Eagle is a substantial fixed blade, and unlike the smaller precision knives earlier in the ranking, it carries serious physical presence. The design is centered around hard outdoor use, with a thick blade, full tang construction, and enough handle to maintain control when a workload becomes demanding. But raw size isn't why it wins. The reason it reaches number 1 is the way that strength is combined with practical functionality. The blade is long enough to give you useful reach during camp work, wood processing, and general survival tasks, while the construction provides a significant margin of confidence when the job becomes rough. The 1095 carbon steel is also a familiar choice for hard-use users because it offers toughness and straightforward field sharpening. If you damage the edge during a long trip, You aren't dealing with an exotic steel that requires specialized equipment. You can restore it with a practical sharpening system and keep moving. The trade-off is maintenance. Like other 1095 blades, the Steel Eagle requires attention around moisture, and its size means you're carrying more weight than you would with a compact bushcraft knife. But this competition isn't about ultra-light backpacking. It's about pushing knives toward their limits and finding the blades that remain useful when the pressure rises. That's where the Steel Eagle shines. Its thick construction gives you confidence during demanding work, while the overall design remains recognizable as a knife rather than simply becoming a giant piece of sharpened metal. More importantly, it doesn't depend on gimmicks. There are no complicated mechanisms required to make it impressive. The fundamentals, steel, geometry, tank construction, handle control, and blade mass do most of the work. That simplicity is exactly what I want from a hard-use survival blade. Does that mean the Steel Eagle is literally indestructible? Absolutely not. No knife is. Every blade has a breaking point, and intentionally abusing one beyond its design limits is not a realistic measure of quality. But among these 10 knives, it provides one of the strongest combinations of serious construction, field capability, and hard-use confidence. That's why it takes number one. The other two survivors proved they were exceptionally capable. The Steel Eagle went one step further. It looked like it belonged in the test from the beginning. 10 knives came into this challenge with completely different designs, materials, and philosophies. Most proved they were capable. 3 proved they deserved to be called survivors. The top Steel Eagle 107C takes number 1 for its serious hard-use construction, while the Bark River Bravo 1 and Benchmade Anonymous proved that toughness doesn't always require a massive blade. But remember, Indestructible is a marketing claim, not a law of physics. The best knife is the one whose strengths match your real needs. Now it's your turn. Which of these 10 knives would you trust when everything goes wrong? Drop your pick below, and let's see which blade wins the comments.